What's going on today, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, to another video. I've had this intake now for probably close to 2 years or so. And out of all the things that I've done, it's probably one of the things that I can say with 100% that probably wasn't worth it. And it's $250 or so more than the standard intake. And I bought it assuming that it would be lighter than the stock intake. And the actuality, it's not lighter than the stock intake, and it's actually just a touch heavier. And you can see that in my comparison video between it and the stock intake if you haven't saw that one already. The difference between the carbon and the base SF intake is, of course, this is carbon fiber and the other one's not. Like I say, I got it thinking it would be lighter than the stock intake, and it wasn't. I really do not feel that this intake is worth the $250 premium unless you are buying the carbon intake for car show purposes or Instagram clout. Like I got carbon fiber everything. It's really just whatever you want to go that direction. But from a pure performance standpoint and yada yada, the carbon version isn't any better than the SF version. And I would say 90% of the intake sales, probably more than that, is mainly for people who just want a little bit more sound. And you can use these with off-the-shelf maps. And in that regard, if you were doing Pro Tune, you could run whatever intake you wanted and it wouldn't really matter. So the $250 premium that Cobb puts on this intake over the standard SF, is simply because the fact that it is carbon fiber. That's it. But as far as functionality goes, the horsepower difference between it and the standard SF is minimal at best, if any at all. Like I said, it weighs exactly the same, a little bit more than even the stock intake. In truthful honesty, stock intake's good for, I think, 350 wheels when you start to maybe start taxing it out as far as it being a restriction in the intake track. Once you get further down the line, 400, 500, and obviously, yeah, it's a big problem. So it's very, very pretty. But again, like I say, unless you're a car show and you got everything else carbon fiber, then to me, they say it's just not worth it just to use it year round and beat on it, all that stuff. Not worth it. You got to watch yourself when you take it out because you don't want to scratch it where you paid so much for it. Trying to work around it. If you drop something on it or something like that, you'll scratch it. It's kind of not really a pain in the hind end to have there, but you really got to be careful around it to not hurt it. So, and if it was, the standard intake, if you dropped a wrench or something on it, then it's, I think most of the standard intake's mostly plastic, so it just bounce right off of it. You wouldn't have to worry about it. I was going to go a different direction when I started this. Like I say, I thought it was going to be lightweight first and foremost. Wasn't, and so now I'm kind of stuck with it for the moment, but we may change it a little bit later down the road to something a little bit different. It depends on the engine bay stuff and what I plan to do. But as far as the sound goes, that's what I say in my other video, my comparison video between it and the stock intake. The sound between it and the normal SF intake are similar to almost exact. There's other videos. I think Scooby Freak has one on there comparing the two, the carbon versus the normal SF, and it's pretty similar, if not exact, sound difference. In that regard, again, hardly any difference other than the fact that it is carbon in its namesake. But again, if you found the video helpful, please leave a like. We'll catch you in the next one.